All right, welcome to the Krueg Show, everybody. Hope everybody's having a phenomenal day. We're here to talk a little 49er football with Niners running back Ronald Awatt, the pride of University of Texas at El Paso. If you've been to UTEP, as they call it, out there in West Texas, Ronald comes to us from UTEP, and he's a 49ers undrafted free agent running back. He's just finished up rookie camp and OTAs and mini camp, and now just getting ready for the biggest competition of his life this summer in training camp, which starts in July down in Santa Clara. And Ron's with us. Do you go by Ronald, Ronnie, Ron? What do your friends call you, Ron?
So when I was in college, my head coach, he started calling me Ronnie. And growing up, people never called me Ronnie, but since it was my head coach, everybody else started calling me Ronnie. But then, like growing up, playing sports, everybody just called me by my last name, Awatt. And so, or Ron, but for the most part, Awatt was what I heard going through everything.
Well, thank you for your time. It's a pleasure to have you here. I'm really excited about your potential and your future, but let's tell your story a little bit. So you were born in Nigeria, your mother, Margaret, you have two sisters, right? Tell us a little bit about growing up. How much of your life did you spend in Nigeria?
So I was born out there in Nigeria. I lived out there for about a year or two. So I wasn't out there for too long. I ended up moving to Detroit. I had lived in Detroit with my biological dad and my mom. And from there, from Detroit, we ended up going to Pennsylvania. Then from Pennsylvania, we ended up in Lubbock, Texas. But for the most part, I grew up in Texas. And I actually, in 2009, we went back to Nigeria. I stayed out there about 4 months. Saw some family, and then I went back in 2018 to see my grandparents and see some of my family again. So, yeah, I got a lot of family out there.
Well, that's great to hear. Now, Nigeria, Detroit, Michigan, Lubbock, Texas, these are dramatically different places for sure. Tell us what it was like growing up in Lubbock. For those who've never been to Texas, there's all kinds of cities in Texas, and Lubbock's one of the smaller cities. But what's it like there? College town? What was it like growing up there?
Yeah, it's a huge college town, so everybody's a tech fanatic. Everybody loves Texas Tech. But I mean, growing up there was so fun because I grew up on different parts of Lubbock. When I was growing up, I used to go to the Boys and Girls Club with a lot of my friends on one side, and then when I got to high school, I ended up making a lot of friends and doing my thing in football on the other side of the town. So it was kind of like both sides was like it was pretty good for me because I feel like I had the best of both worlds out there.
Now, where are you in the family? Are you the oldest? Are you the baby? Your sister's younger than you, older than you? Are you the middle child? Where do you sit in the sibling line?
Right. I'm the oldest, but my mom, she had recently got remarried, so now I have 6 sisters now, and so I'm right there in the middle. But when it comes to just me and my two other sisters, I'm the oldest, and I'm the oldest by like I want to say a year, no, 2 years and then 3 years.
So what brought football into your life? I mean, you didn't play in Nigeria? You probably, I mean, Lubbock, obviously, Texas. I mean, football's just religion in Texas. So
yeah.
who got you playing football? What age did you start playing?
So the crazy thing is, growing up, I loved basketball. I was a basketball cat. I went to the Boys and Girls Club. I was playing basketball all the time. And then it was a time they had like a flag. It was like a flag football tournament. And I was just out there like just juking everybody, just trying to like. I didn't want nobody to take my flag away from me, but I still wasn't fully in on the football aspect of things because I just love basketball. But then when I ended up moving to Friendship, the independent school district over there, it just started to become natural to me. Like we'll play like during recess. When I was in like middle school, we'll go outside and play football, and it just was natural for me. And then when I got to end up getting to middle school, they plugged me at running back because I was one of the faster guys, and everything was just like I just used whatever I was doing playing flag football or just some of my basketball moves actually, and it just helped out with football. And then when I got to high school, I actually played safety my freshman year, safety and running back, and but at that time we had a really good running back. His name was DeMondre Tucker, and he was on varsity. And so it was his senior year. So going into my sophomore year, they had moved me up to varsity, and like, you want to play running back? You got it, because like I was just going out there just doing everything, just naturally playing. I really didn't know the game of football. I was just going out there just making people miss and just doing what they told me to do for the most part.
Well, that's cool. And you played at Friendship High School in Texas, and 2-star recruit going into college.
Yes, sir.
Probably were not heavily recruited. How did you choose UTEP? Did you want to stay close to home and nearby the family, or did UTEP put a big press on you? What were your choices coming out of high school?
So the crazy thing, coming out of high school in West Texas, whenever I was playing, a lot of guys weren't really getting looked at in West Texas. It was kind of crazy. We had a lot of talent, but a lot of people weren't getting really. And I remember going into my junior year, I was a triple jump guy. So like at first I was thinking I'm doing my thing in football. Like, yeah, I'm getting accolades and everything, but I had went to state in triple jump my sophomore year. So I was thinking, okay, I might go to college. Around my junior year, I was getting interest from like a lot of Ivy League schools. Like I had interest from Bryant and some other Ivy League schools out there. And then my senior year, I started getting looked at a little bit, but it wasn't until the end when one of my friends, he was a DB on team, his name is Broderick. He was getting looked at by like Toledo and some other Division I schools, and UTEP was one of them. And I remember the coach, I remember his name, Coach Franklin. He had came out and came to watch Broderick this workout and stuff like that. And then my boy actually, he told him about me, so they looked at my film. Came out there, watched me worked out, and they loved what they saw. So by this time, it was already the end of it was already close to signing day and everything like that. So they couldn't offer me a scholarship. They had offered me a gracious scholarship. So whenever signing day came, I signed my scholarship to go play at UTEP, but as like under a gracious scholarship. So that's how UTEP came along.
Yeah, so freshman year, 2017, you played 2 games at UTEP. 2018, you're playing safety and linebacker. And then 2019, you didn't play because you got hurt in fall camp and you were a medical redshirt. What was your injury in 2019?
I actually broke my foot. It was 2 weeks before we played Texas Tech in 2019. And I had made a regular jump cut that I always make it like a back cut. And it was they said it was a Jones fracture. And so when they went and looked at it, they said it had split down straight down the middle of my fifth metatarsal. And before I had left, they told me it was supposed to be 6 to 8 weeks. But since the Jones fracture, or since the pinky bone is so small, little blood supply gets to it, it took me the whole year for it to heal. And so that's why I was out that whole year. But yeah, it was a foot injury. It was a Jones fracture injury.
Now, when you came back, you're playing 6 games in 2020. I guess that was the COVID year. You're playing running back. So was it you that wanted to move from safety and linebacker to the offensive side of the ball, or was it the coaches there at UTEP who said, you know what, let's use you as a running back?
Yeah, so it was more of the coaches. They wanted to use me as a running back because they had another running back who was ahead of me, and he ended up getting hurt. And so going into the COVID year, it was tough. He was still trying to rehab from it and everything, and I used it as a perfect opportunity to earn my stripes, like finally get on the field playing running back. So that's what I did in 2020. Yeah, 2020 came out there and did what I had to do to earn my stripes, and that was just the beginning of the journey that I had out there playing running back at UTEP.
Yeah, 2021 is your bust out year. You lead UTEP with 844 yards rushing, 5.3 a carry. You caught 11 passes. You had 300-yard rushing games. You were 10th in all of the Conference USA in yards per carry at 5.3 a pop. 13 games, 9 starts. Some big games too. 19 for 126 against Bethune-Cookman. 18 for 159 against Southern Miss. Those are 2 really good football games right there. That had to be fun, huh? 2021, just finally, your final year in college, getting it all put together and busting out and really being productive. Tell us a little bit about 2021 and, what went into you having such a big year there.
Yeah, so 2021, like you said, it was a big year for me, and it took a lot of patience and me having faith, just knowing what I was capable of doing, and pretty much just being ready whenever my number was called. Because going into that year, I actually wasn't the starting running back. I was sitting at, I want to say, third on the depth chart going into that year, and so it was more of like, and my coaches always said, some of my friends had always said, it's a long season, so you never know what can happen. So I did all right that 2020 year with 6 games. It was COVID, so we were losing some games away from us because of the COVID. But 2021 was just pretty much like, once I get my opportunity, I'm gonna take advantage of it. And sure enough, the opportunity came due to injuries. And once I had got that first opportunity, took advantage of it, and the rest was history. And that's how I ended up getting the opportunity to come out here, play the game, and career.
It's a good story, and you had a strong bowl game as well against Fresno, the New Mexico Bowl. 3 catches for 46 yards, 40 yards rushing and a touchdown. You shared some of the running back duties with Deion Hankins.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at your career: 44 games in 6 years at UTEP with the COVID year. The one thing I noticed is that UTEP ranked like 18th in the country in time of possession. So, man, they used you and Hankins a lot to just dominate the ball and dominate time of possession. Was that pretty much coach's game plan? Let's just run it some more and try to keep our defense on the sideline.
Yeah, that was especially I want to say my last year when Deion Hankins was. That was the game plan. Just rotate us in, keep the offense on the field, and keep the defense fresh. So whenever they come out there, they can do their thing.
What I loved when I watched your college film, I think it's pretty. I mean, for those who don't know some of the measurables, 4.56 40, pretty good 40 time, 1.58 10-yard split, 35-inch vertical. But the number that jumps out to me is the 16 reps of 225. You obviously spent a lot of time in the weight room, huh? I mean, you don't put a running backs. 16 is a great number for running backs. That's putting up the weight. In fact, I just came from the gym myself, and I got 2 reps at 225, and I had to have a spot. So, but granted, I'm 53 years old right now, but 16 reps at 225 is a good number, man. So obviously, you spent a lot of time in the weight room, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. And it was one of those things when I was going through my pro day training. Person I was working with, he did a real good job in getting me ready for that. Because when we actually had our mock pro day, I didn't hit 16. I had hit, I want to say, 12 or 13. And so when we had that mock pro day, we kind of looked at all the measurables and how everything was, and we just honed in on all the things that we had struggled with until pro day, and then that's how I was able to bump it up. 4 more reps, 3 more reps, and get that 16. But it took a lot of hard work, and trust me, it was hard because my main thing with bench press, my arms would get fatigued. So it was like I felt like I could do it, but at the same time, whenever my arms had got fatigued, it was done for me. I couldn't do it anymore.
No, I hear you, but I mean, seriously, the scouts look at those numbers and say, you know what, you can be naturally gifted and be good at some of the other things. But if you're putting up 16 reps at 225 as a running back, you're doing the work. And so, sometimes your profile will reveal some truths about you. And if you see good weightlifting numbers, usually there's a dedicated football player behind those numbers. Let's talk about your game, because one of the things that I love about you is that, I think it's pretty safe to say, and if I'm wrong, correct me, but I look at you as kind of a one-cut runner who likes to get downhill. I love the fact that you averaged over 3 yards per carry after contact. I love the fact that you forced a lot of missed tackles. But to me, it's just when I watched your film, and tell me if I'm right or wrong on this, I just see a mindset. Some guys are trying to run around. Other guys are trying to run through. And I love that your mindset is you're going to run through. You're not, you'll run away from defenders if you can, but it seems like you got an aggressive mindset to kind of run through defenders, run through arm tackles. You enjoy the contact, don't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I feel like that's why whenever I did have my defensive stint at UTEP, I felt like it was fun, and I did what I could at it, and it was natural to me because of the aggression that I have whenever it comes to the game. And it's one of those things too, like playing running back, you know that like whenever you go up against the defense, they don't want to keep taking those hits. Like after a certain amount of time, it's gonna wear a defense down. And so like my mindset was always like I always like even in high school was finesse the game, like finesse the defenders, like go at them. So that way, whenever it gets like the third quarter, fourth quarter, you can get around them and just kind of squeeze through tackles and just maneuver your way through the tackles and stuff like that. So that was my mindset towards everything. But when it comes to running the ball, like like I love the contact. I love running hard. That's just it makes the game fun for me. I don't even think about it.
Well, and it's kind of, it's to me, it's kind of like the mentality of a pass rusher. You can go, try to beat a guy with speed, but you got to first beat him with power. You got to bull rush him, then you can beat him with speed. Then when he's lunging outside, you can counter back inside. You got to set a guy up because it's an all-day deal. So you run at him. Suddenly they don't want any, and now you're running around him in the fourth quarter because they don't want that contact. So it came through in your film for sure. One of the things that jumped out is that your head coach there at Utah, is Dana Dimmel, cited your leadership, that you were a great leader on that football team. Did you take it upon yourself to try to lead some of the younger guys when you were, finishing up there at UTEP?
Yes, sir. Like I really took pride in that because like going through UTEP, I always wanted to have that person that I could look up to, especially throughout my journey at UTEP. And like towards my last year, I started seeing some of the talent they start bringing in at running back, and it was like one of those like they would always I knew they looked up to me and they would ask me questions, and even outside the meeting room that they would try to want to talk to me and ask me little things. So it was like one of those like I felt honored because I was once in their shoes, and it was like whatever y'all need from me, whatever you guys want, or I'm here to give you guys nuggets like on what to do. Like I used to tell some of the guys, like, man, like if it was something I struggled with, like my junior year, I struggled with body maintenance, which is like stretching and stuff like that. I used to tell them like, man, if you guys want to get better and you guys want to stay out the training room, stretch every night. And I used to send them like little clips on YouTube and stuff like that, just little things like that. And then just going out there and practice and making plays, being in the game, making plays. They kind of I know they looked up to me because of the product that I put out there and everything like that. And just the type of person I was to them. Like I wasn't the type of guy to just brush them off. Like I always wanted them to tell them, like, ask me something, and I'll be the first one to tell them what they need to work on. So that's where I feel good when it comes to the leadership aspect of things, especially my last year at UTEP.
Yeah, I mean, and stretching is a big part of it. Do you do yoga? I know there's a lot of football players that do yoga just to try to strengthen those little muscles in your knees and ankles and for balance. I mean, let's be honest. It doesn't matter if you're playing at UTEP, if you're playing high school ball, if you're playing in the NFL. There is no such thing as a great football player that's always on the ground.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? The game is played on your feet, and if you can't keep your feet, you're not going to be any good. And I know that there are a lot of athletes, a lot of football players that do work. They do a lot of stretching, a lot of balance, a lot of lifting. Maybe on one of those exercise balls, or trying to maintain some balance when make it that much more difficult. Do you incorporate any yoga or into your stretching workout and routine?
Yeah, so I'll do like a 30-minute. It's a normal stretch, but I guess you can say it's yoga at the same time too. It's on YouTube. It's like a yoga / like footballer, soccer stretch or whatever. And I just look at what he does. He really focuses on breathing and like everything like that. But it does like incorporate some yoga into it. So I guess you can say I do a little bit of yoga.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's funny. My wife wanted me to do it a few years ago, and I'm like, it looks easy. And I got on the mat and I started doing it. And Ron, I was sweating like a dog, man.
Yeah,
I was sweating like a dog, and I wasn't moving. You're not moving, but holding those poses and what it does for your core, what it does for the small muscles in your ankles and your knees and your ability to keep your feet. I mean, it really does work, and I would recommend it to anybody. You're quite the student as well, multidisciplinary studies major at UTEP. You have your bachelor's degree, but right before we went live here, you were telling me I'd read that you were working on your master's, and now you're telling me you've already graduated with your master's degree. So what's your master's in?
My master's is actually in public administration, and I just graduated with it on the 14th of May. And so
congratulations, man. That is incredible. That's awesome stuff. What would you, I mean, you're going to have a football career. I'm telling you that right now. But when football is over and you want to put that degree to work, what kind of field are you interested in? What kind of work interests you?
So like I've been talking to a lot of people and just trying to network with a lot of people, and something that I've really been trying to get into is like I want to be able to own my own company. As of right now, I don't know what type of company I want to own, but my mom, she has her own business. So like I always try to get little nuggets from her and then ask around and people that I know who are in the league, and people what type of things do they do whenever the off season comes, or things that they do to bring in money during the off season. And it's talking to my advisors and everything at UTEP, having a public administration degree can really help me, especially if I want to go into stuff with the public with like policies and stuff like that. And throughout my time at UTEP, I was actually working at I was doing work at some nonprofit organizations. And so being able to have my own nonprofit organization in the future would for sure be something that I would really love to do with my.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And this could be just the prelude to that. You know, you get, because I think, the average career in the NFL doesn't last very long, but you know what? I think you're going to have a great NFL career, and then you make contacts along the way and network along the way, and keep your degree in mind, and, let people know what your goals are, and you'll be surprised how many doors, swing open for you. I'm kind of wondering, if your family was from Nigeria, they may not have a lot of knowledge about American football. How much does your mom and your sisters and your family, how much do they even know about American football? How much do they know about it right now?
It's funny, man, because my mom, my mom was so in on me with school and all that, like how she should, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But she never realized how good I was at football. Like she didn't know until high school when somebody, because my mom would work. Like my mom, she was a single parent. She was working, doing her thing, and I remember she worked so hard. And one of the people that she worked with at her job were they knew her by her last name. They knew of her last name. They're like, you're Ron's son, or you're Ron's mom, huh? She was like, yeah. She was like, have you seen your son play? And my mom, she had not seen me play yet. And she was like,
this is in college?
No. This was in high school.
This is in high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This was I think my junior year in high school. And she was like, okay, look, I'm gonna switch out of shift with you. You take my shift, I'll take your shift. You go watch your son play. And
very cool.
She came out to the game, and I had a crazy game. I was going crazy. The crowd, they had a little chant for me and stuff like that. And in her head, she was telling me, she was like, it's the same Ron that gets on my nerves at the house. I did not know he was good. So it's I went through all of that. I went through high school. I had fun, went crazy in high school. And then when I got to college, it was a journey. I had my times where I wasn't playing and stuff like that. And of course, through those hard times, she was always putting in my head, school. You got to graduate with your degree. You got to do this. You got to do that. So I was like, okay, I'm in on that. And then once things started picking up with football again, and I was like, Mom, I think I really have a chance at getting to the next level with this. She was like, okay, well, put everything you have into it, go all in. And she started seeing it, and now it's she'll come to me, ask me questions about the game, and it's she wants to know about she wants to know more about the game. And even my stepdad, he'll come and ask me stuff about the game, and it's just it's cool because they never knew anything about American football. My mom's birthday is always around the Super Bowl. And she was like, I'm gonna go watch the Super Bowl. But it was now she's like, like we watched Super Bowl or something like that. She was like, so what's that? Whenever the other team catches the ball and the quarterback throws it, what's that interception? I'm like, yeah, that's an interception. Like, getting. So like she's really trying to learn the game, and like it's a really cool experience, and seeing how she's growing and learning the game. It's like I think that's special because my mom was not even a sports person like that.
Sure, sure. No, I totally understand that. It's amazing. If it's not part of your world, it's like all new. And then I'm sure she's got a million questions. Now, did you know the first time she came to watch you that she was coming to that game? Did you know ahead of time? You
No,
didn't know.
I did not know. And
So, do you get extra nervous when she's there watching you play? And is she going to come out for the preseason and come out to Levi's and sit in the stands and watch you do your thing in the preseason?
Oh yeah, for sure. I told her like if it's one because she's never been to an NFL football game. I've never been to an NFL football game. Like my first NFL football game going to is the one that I'm going to be playing in. So
Wow.
I want her and my stepdad to be a part of that. So I told her like whenever it comes, you guys for sure getting tickets. I got you guys.
Yeah. Oh, that is so cool. That is so cool. Now, how far is Lubbock to where you grew up? I mean, how far is I should say El Paso to Lubbock? I've driven all through Texas, but I don't know that I've made the Lubbock El Paso drive. Like, could you go home when you were going to UTEP? Could you go home for dinner or go home on the weekends and do some laundry or go home and see your sisters or your mom and kind of visit? Or man, once school started, you were in El Paso and you never went home.
Yeah, as much as I wanted to, the drive, it was a 5-hour and 30-minute drive. If I took the back roads, if I took the highways, it was 7 hours. So as much as I wanted to go home, like during the weekends, like I just couldn't do it. I would just go like on the holidays and stuff like that. But I mean, it's a drive. Like it's a cool little drive. It's not too bad. But when I tell other people who are not from Texas, they're like, "Bro, that is super long." I'm like, "Yeah,
it's flat too. It's flat.
Yeah, you know, so
it's not a fun drive."
Yeah, but I ended up getting used to it though. But I couldn't make that drive every weekend. I couldn't do it.
So let's talk a little bit about the transitioning from college to the pros. Like, how do you get an agent? When did you know the Niners had interest? I mean, there's a lot that goes into transitioning from college football player to getting ready for the draft, preparing for all these drills, trying to put your best foot forward so that the scouts will notice you. Tell us a little bit about the process. Did you know the Niners had interest?
I had I want to say a couple months. No, actually, I did know I did know they had interest in me for sure. Through my agent and one of the scouts had reached out to me and told me like they had really liked my film. They wanted to just get more information on me and stuff like that. So like going through that process, like I knew they had deep interest in me and everything like that. But at the same time, it was like the 49ers could be talking to me and then they could go a whole nother way. So it was one of those where I was like, I got to keep my head down. I just got to keep working. And then throughout my pro day training, Bobby T, he was hitting me up and just talking to me, letting me know like how much they really like my game and stuff like that. And then so I did some research on Bobby T. I'm like, man, Bobby T is really the GOAT. Like he's not the best running back coach. And it's like, okay, like me in my head, I'm like, man, like if this guy who's been doing this for 51 years and who has worked with so many great running backs see something in me, like, man, like I take that as an honor. Like I really appreciate that. And then they ended up coming out to my pro day. I had an interview with them before my pro day and everything like that. So I knew the interest was deep and everything. And but my main mindset, my main goal was to just take advantage of every opportunity I had come pro day and just do what I do, just do what was natural for me, and the rest was history.
Where was pro day? Was it on UTEP's campus, or did you have to go? It was at UTEP.
Yes, sir.
And were you the only one there? I mean, I know you were the only one who got signed, right?
Yes, sir. I want to say we had about 13 guys.
Okay.
Two of the guys ended up playing in the CFL, and then I was the only one that ended up going to the NFL. But
Way to go, man. That's incredible. Take us back to the night before your pro day. I mean, it's the biggest job interview of your life, right? You know, there's going to be NFL teams there. You know, hey, man, if I have a good day tomorrow, I'm going places. If I fall on my face tomorrow, I'm probably done, or at least done in the eyes of NFL people. How much did you feel that pressure the night before, or was it like, you know what? Some people kind of block it out and don't feel pressure. Other people, put a lot on themselves and really feel a lot of that pressure. How would you describe yourself in that situation?
So the night before, I had actually had an interview with one of the scouts from the 49ers, and the last thing he told me, he was like, go out there, don't put too much pressure on yourself, just go out there, have fun, and let the rest come. And I'm real big on faith, so I'm like, whatever happens, it was meant to happen. So I just went out there the night before, got me a good dinner, went to Texas Roadhouse, got me some good food.
There you go. Get a steak, get a big steak in you.
What did I? No, I didn't get a steak that night. I ended up getting some salmon. I got some salmon and
oh, look at you! You're eating right.
Yeah, I was on top of it. But just him telling me that kind of soothed my nerves down a little bit, because of course, like, you're out there in front of these scouts, like, you want to go out there and put the best product, put the best product out there. So I was just like, all right, like, I'm just gonna go out there, whatever happens, but I'm gonna go out there, enjoy it, have fun, and let the rest, let whatever happens. And so that morning came. I don't know, I was so energetic that morning. I and I woke up just yelling like, "Hey, let's go!" Like, I'm about to do it. I was just so confident in myself. And then, boom, you get out there. It's like, oh, the nerves start hitting. But then it's like the adrenaline goes through you at the same time. It's like you're in the game for real. The adrenaline goes through you, and it's just like, you just go out there and perform and put your best foot forward, and just pray everything goes the way you want it to go, and everything did.
Yeah. Did you talk to Bobby T that day, or did you? Because I mean, he's and what are the kinds of things that Bobby T said he liked about your game?
Pretty much he just like how I maneuvered through tackles, and cause at UTEP we run a lot of outside zones, so like the way they saw me move outside zone and inside zone was something that they really liked. My speed in between the tackles and everything like that. So it was one of those things that he was telling me that he really liked about my game. He would ask me about catching the ball out the backfield, and I mean, I got some film of catching the ball out the backfield, but that wasn't something we predominantly did at UTEP. But from what they saw, they liked what they saw, and just from just being the thing with Bobby T that I really like, he knows football. Like, he knows a football running back. So he was like, it's just little things that I wouldn't think I was doing. He'll say like, okay, I like how you set that up. I like how you play with that linebacker right there. And it's just little things like that where it's just like, he was telling me that I was a good natural running back. I was just a good natural running back. But it's still things that I can work on. Like, I'm not the complete running back yet, but that's why I came to the 49ers, because I know the culture that they have here. And Bobby T, he's a guru. He knows what he's talking about. So I'm all about getting better and just reaching my potential.
No question. And I agree with him. I think you are a good fit. I didn't realize that you ran a lot of outside zone there, but there's no question that when you run that outside zone and you're a one-cut runner that can put his foot in the ground and get up the field, it's about how well do you see it? What kind of timing do you have? What's your gliding speed? And then, do you have that second gear and the vision? And I see all of those things, man. I see all of those things. I feel like this system is made for you in some ways. What did you think? Now, we asked Bobby T. We had a chance to talk to him a few weeks ago. And, so I didn't ask him because I kind of know his mindset. He doesn't like to sing the praises of rookie running backs. And somebody asked him about you guys, and they were asking about Kalen Laburn. And I knew what was coming, right? I knew Bobby was going to push back. He's like, I don't want to talk about those guys. They haven't done enough yet. We'll talk about them eventually, but not today. I like those guys. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want to talk about those guys. I thought that was awesome. But what in a short amount of time, what have you learned from Bobby T? Because the guy, as you said, he's a wealth of knowledge. You maybe could, I mean, between Anthony Lynn and Bobby T, I don't know that you could go to an organization that's better equipped to help a young running back acclimate to the NFL.
Exactly. And Coach Bobby T, that's like, I just look at his coaching style and how he just goes about everything, and I love it. Like, I love it from a player standpoint. Like, he loves his running backs, but at the same time, he's gonna get you to be the best running back that you can possibly be. He's not gonna fill your head up with all these different things and have you thinking this and have you thinking that. Like, no, he's gonna cut it straight and keep it dry with you. Like, he's gonna keep it so real with you, and you gotta respect that, especially coming into the league and you want to get better as a running back. You need a coach like that. Like, you honestly do, and he's so good at it. Like, I know in high school, well, not high school, but like in college, you're so used to your coaches saying, "Man, like, I like what you did right here. Or you're good at this. You're good." He's not gonna do that. He's not gonna do that.
He's not gonna do that. Can you take hard coaching? Because let's be honest about it, right? Bobby T coaches guys hard, man, and he get up in you and tell you what's up. I mean, and it's all out of get better, but it's some guys just don't take tough coaching.
Yeah, I mean, my time at UTEP, I had tough coaches. Like, it was one of those things. I feel like with the coaches that I had at UTEP, it prepared me for having coach like Coach Bobby T. So it's one of those, like, whenever he does get on me, I just take it with a grain of salt, and I'm just like, okay, yes sir. But I try not to make the same mistake twice. I try to correct my mistakes, and it's like, yes, I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm a rookie. I'm still trying to learn the offense, and it's a deep offense. Like, there's a lot of plays, and he understands that. At the end of the day, like, I feel like he understands that we're still trying to get it acclimated to a lot of things, and he's trying to do is work with us. Like, he's patient with us and everything like that. But at the same time, he's gonna be on us too whenever he feels like we're not playing up to our potential.
Yeah, I mean, make a mistake, just don't make it twice. You know what I mean? I mean, just don't make it twice, at least if you can avoid it. What was draft weekend like for you? You knew you weren't going on day 1 or day 2, but I'm sure you would have loved to have gone on day 3. What did you do during the draft? Do you have a draft party? Did you watch it on Saturday? Some guys get away from it and are just like, man, I can't watch this. It's driving me crazy. What did you do during the draft?
So the first day, I really didn't watch it. I knew I wasn't getting picked up, but I kept tabs on my phone on ESPN and everything like that. But I was just going out there having fun. I was in Florida, so some of my friends were out there. We were just touring the city having fun. The second day, I watched a little bit of it, but I wasn't too deep into it. And then the third day, I was sitting on the couch. I was with my family. We were just having a good time, just family time. Everybody was there. I got some pizzas and stuff like that, and we were just watching the draft and everything like that. And whenever the draft was over, I knew I wasn't going to get picked up, get drafted, and everything like that, because they had already told me, like, hey, after the draft, we don't pick you up. We want you as an undrafted guy, straight up. So I was like, okay, like, all right, cool. So, like, but he was like, you never know with other teams and stuff like that, because I was getting calls from other teams and things like that. So it was kind of like one of those where I was like, okay. And then after the draft, I just knew, but deep down inside, I've been like I've been a fan of the 49ers run game just because all the running backs that they've had. Like,
sure.
I like the Raheem Mosterts, I like the Breeders, like, I like the Elijah Mitchells, like Christian McCaffrey. They've had Frank Gore. They had so many, like, dope running backs, and it's just like, I was always, even during my season at UTEP, whenever he would want us to get better at outside zone, I would look up YouTube videos on 49ers outside zone run scheme or inside zone run scheme and just kind of like try to see how they run stuff. So it was kind of like whenever draft day came and I was excited, I was super excited, and they gave me that call after the last pick, and I was stoked. I was ready to go. Like, as I got my opportunity, now I got to take advantage of it.
Oh, exactly. You know what? Nobody cares or remembers where you get drafted. You know, let me give you one key stat. Here's the stat: 17. People say, what's 17? 17 players in the Hall of Fame went undrafted. 17 guys made it to the Hall of Fame and did not get drafted. So the draft is a starting point, but it is not a finishing point. And you can make it whatever you need to make it. Terrell Davis was a 6th-round pick. Raheem Mostert was not drafted. Jeff Wilson was not drafted. Elijah Mitchell was a 6th-round pick. It doesn't matter where you're drafted. Who did? What's that?
We got JP on the team. He wasn't drafted either.
JP, yeah. I mean, seriously, Jordan Mason to me is kind of like a poor man's Marshawn Lynch. He's got a great career ahead of him. He wasn't drafted, and he was fantastic last year. Who did it come down to when you were trying to decide? Was it clearly the Niners, or was it the Niners and one other team? Who was the other team that maybe you were considering?
So, it was between the Niners, the Denver Broncos, and who was another team. But deep down inside, it's crazy. I had a dream. I had a dream about going to the 49ers. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I was going to get drafted or undrafted. And but just deep down inside, like I knew like I wanted to go to the 49ers. They gave me the opportunity. I was going to take advantage of the opportunity they gave me about
That's
when
awesome.
I go to the 49ers. So it was kind of like one of those things. It was like a full circle moment for me. Like it was just like one of those where like I just had faith. I prayed on it and everything like that. Whatever happens, I was good with it. But then when the 49ers came out, I was like, oh, like this is everything that I'm asking for right now. Like I'm going to a good organization that has good history with undrafted free agent running backs. So I was excited.
Seriously. Yeah, no, you picked a great spot. You've mentioned your faith a couple times. I grew up Catholic. What is your faith? And to me, it's like when you find somebody that has, religious conviction, faith of some kind. I think that can only be a positive as far as trying to evening out kind of the bumpy spots in life, because God knows there's enough challenges, right? And something's got to keep you grounded. What is your faith? It sounds like your faith's very important to you.
Yeah, my faith is in Christianity. And it's helped me throughout so much, especially during my time at UTEP when I had faced so much adversity, and just when I was at the lowest, it just helped me like get to where I'm at today. Like you couldn't have told me, I want to say 4 years ago, I'd be in the position that I'm in. Like it was just through faith that I was able to even get here. So it's like I know that like at the end of the day, whatever happens is not by my own understanding, but it's by the man above understanding. So I just take that every day and I do everything I can to my best possible strength. And then I just leave everything up to him, and I know everything will work out because like he's brought me this far. So it's only up. That's all I can say. It's only up.
Very cool. Very cool. It's good to see that you're grounded and that you have a solid base, because that's really what it is. Let's talk about some of the people, and then we'll talk about your experience in minicamp. Give me your thoughts on a couple of these guys. You're on the same unit with Christian McCaffrey, and man, just being out at all those OTA practices, if there was one player on the field that if you said to me, Krueg, give me the guy out on the field that really set the tone for the Niners in this OTAs and the minicamp, I would say it's Christian McCaffrey, man. That guy was playing at a breakneck speed. Every run, he's taking it 30, 40, 50 yards down the field. The D linemen are chasing him down. I mean, McCaffrey, it was like, some of the stars sat it out. This guy not only didn't sit it out, it was like he was going to show what level he expects everybody to be at. Very much a tone-setting player. What did you think of McCaffrey in the minicamp? He was spectacular.
Man, like this was my first time really being around, other than Aaron Jones, being around like a high-profile running back.
That's right. Aaron Jones is a UTEP guy.
Yeah,
that's right.
He's a UTEP guy. And just my first day of even seeing Christian McCaffrey and just being around him, I was like, I see why he's one of the highest paid running back in the NFL. I see why. And it's just how he goes about his business. Like, he's so practical about everything that he does. Like, I asked him because he's one of those people that I look at his career and I look at the things he's done. It's like, as a running back, who wouldn't want to do the things he's done? Like, he's been 1,000. He had 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving when he was with the Carolina Panthers. So it's like one of those things. You're like, dang, man, I'm trying to be like how you are, and just how he goes about his business, like is so professional, and I really respect it. And then it translates out there onto the field when he's playing. Like, he's so practical about what he does. If he runs a route, the way it shouldn't be ran, he's harder on himself than the coach is on him. And it's just like, man, like, I respect that because it shows how great he wants to be, even though he's been in the league for 7 years. Like, it shows how great he is, and like that's good. It's good having a mentor like that because he sets the tone for the whole running back room. Like, you gotta try to be like Christian McCaffrey when it comes to your mindset of things, when it comes to the game. So yeah, Christian McCaffrey is for sure. Yeah, 1-on-1.
How about the other day in practice, Ron, where Odom gets there maybe a tick early. The officials throw a flag. McCaffrey goes to argue with the officials. Then the play's over. Him and Trent Williams are both over there in front of the official. I mean, it was just like, I mean, that right there just kind of shows you. I mean, it's a throwaway rep in May or June, and McCaffrey's out there, right, jaw to jaw with the part-time official saying, "Hey, man, he got there early. He got there early." I mean, I loved it. I love the competitor in him.
Yeah, you gotta love it, and it's just with the whole team in general. Like, both sides of the ball super competitive. So it's like seeing his approach to practice is crazy to me, and I just know like his approach to practice is why he's the player he is in the game because it comes so natural to him.
Yeah, no question. Now, you're not the only undrafted free agent, college free agent running back. There's Kalen Laburn, and Laburn's a great story in his own right. He was a 5-star guy, went to Florida State, graduated, transferred to Marshall, just came off a year where he had like 300 carries. I mean, Marshall should be investigated for how many times they handed that kid the ball last year. I mean, it was just ridiculous. 31 carries, 36 carries. It was ridiculous how much he ran it. But is it nice having another guy? I know technically you guys are competing, right? And maybe if you make it, he can't, or if he makes it, you won't, possibly. But there's also a chance that you both make it. And there's also a lot of teams around the league and everybody sees these films. But is it reassuring to have another guy kind of in your exact same shoes at your position, going through all the drills and learning things at the same time? What's it been like having Kalen right there with you?
Yeah, man, it's cool. That's my dog. Like, and it's one of those, like, we're in this together. Like, we're all about getting better. So it's like, if it's something I'm struggling on, he'll come up to me, give me a little pep talk, like, "Hey, man, you good?" And then if it's something like he's mad about or he's struggling with, I'll go up to him like, "Hey, man, don't even worry about that. Like, you good?" And then, I mean, of course, we talk to each other outside of practice, and just how our upbringings are and how everything is, and just knowing him as a person and him knowing me as a person, it's helped us get closer. And I mean, he's a real down to earth dude, and like, man, like, it's gonna be fun because like I feel like even though we're competing against each other, we're making each other better at the same time.
You guys are different backs, though, huh? I mean, he seems like he's real thick in the lower body, real thick legs. He also is a power runner. I look at you as a little bit more of a natural receiver than he is. He may be more of a between the tackles runner. I feel like you're more of a outside runner and a guy who can catch the ball. Now, you mentioned that UTEP didn't throw it a lot. And the one thing, and I mentioned this to your agent, that's what jumped out to me about you in the workouts was how naturally you caught the ball. And when I saw that, I went home and looked at your receiving totals at UTEP, and I'm thinking to myself, this guy's a natural receiver who they didn't throw the ball to in college. I feel like the coaches at UTEP could have utilized you better as a receiver, but it just wasn't part of their offense. Where did your receiving ability come from, Ron? Because this guy, I mean, this tape is that you put out during the OTAs and minicamp. I thought maybe your most natural thing was how you caught the ball. You're plucking it with your hands. You're not fighting the ball. You caught it in a crowd. You caught it outside of your body. I mean, you really look natural catching it. Was that something you've been working on a lot? Because looking at your college resume, there's not a lot of receiving reps.
Yeah, I mean, in college, the way our offense was, we always had a good receiver. So like, the running back would probably go out into the flat a couple of times or run like get a swing route a couple of times. But in practice, we were always throwing the ball to the running backs. And so it was one of those things where I was always working on that. And then even whenever I do go work out outside of the facility, or like whenever I have my free time or during the off season, I was always getting with a quarterback or just somebody to throw the ball to. And so it just felt like the more I did it, the more natural it came to me. And like whenever I go out there and I'm catching the ball, I'm not even thinking about it. Like, yeah, sometimes you might drop the ball or things might happen, but for the most part, it's just get your hands up, get it down. It's all like an instinct thing to me. It's just like I just try to make it as natural as possible and make it feel as natural as possible. And I guess you could say that's from like the work that I put in, because I mean I had put in a lot of work with my catching and stuff like that, and I just want to be the best running back. Like coming out of UTEP, you see guys like Aaron Jones, who he goes out, he's at Green Bay, he's making ridiculous catches. He's a receiver and a running back.
He's one of the best receiving running backs in the game right now.
Exactly. So I look at his game and I see the things that he does, and it's just like he always used to tell me too, like whenever in the league, if you can catch the ball as running back, that's a plus. So I was like, okay, that's something I always would just work on, and it's really helped me, and it's starting to show, because now I feel like it's a hidden talent that I had that a lot of people don't know, is that about me catching the ball out the backfield. I feel like with the 49ers, I feel like I can find my niche in that whenever they get to really throwing the ball and spreading the side and stuff like that. Because Coach Shanahan knows how to work. He knows how to make big plays happen and stuff like that.
Well, I know you're too young for this guy, but man, if you're on YouTube, go YouTube Roger Craig, the ex-49er who was the original 1,000. He was the first guy to do it before Marshall Faulk, before McCaffrey, before anybody. Roger Craig did it, and it's funny. He was at Nebraska, and they never threw him the ball at Nebraska. But this guy became one of the great receiving running backs, and he just, to me, someday he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. And he did it, largely as a dominating receiver. And I think there's something that you could definitely take away from doing a deep dive on Roger Craig catching the ball, because he was so prolific at it. Who outside of Laburn and outside of CMC and Bobby T, is there a player that you feel like has helped you adjust to life in the NFL? Maybe at your position, maybe it's a Debo or a Trent Williams or somebody on defense. Is there a veteran player that's shown interest in you that basically has either said anything to you or pointed anything out to you to help you?
Yeah, so I talk to Elijah Mitchell a lot, and me and him were like super cool, and he just feeding me game about everything and how to go about everything, and I see how he goes about taking care of his body and how he goes about just pretty much being a professional, and like being around him has helped me a lot too, because he's been able just to feed me so much game and just also help me whenever it comes to like the mental aspect of things. Like, don't think about it too much. Don't get too worked up. Just go out there, play your game, and pretty much let whatever happens happen. So like I feel like we share the same mindset when it comes to certain things, and I've been able to gravitate towards him a lot.
How about this month between mini camp and training camp? I mean, is it just are you hunkered down here in the Bay the entire time? Are you going to get a chance to go back to Texas and see the family, or are you pretty much here?
Yeah, I'm going back to Houston, where I did my pro day training, and I'm gonna go out there, train, get better at little things and things that I need to get better from the past OTAs, stuff like that. Start honing in on those, getting better at those. That way when I come out for training camp, it's second nature for me. And whenever the game slows down for me and I know what I'm doing, I play so much faster, I play so much better. So that's my main goal going into this break that we have before training camp.
What do you think of our weather out here? I mean, it ain't Houston, man. Houston is just sweaty and hot, man.
Nah, I mean, I love the weather out here. Honestly, it's like whenever I first came to San Jose, it gave me El Paso. It looked like El Paso until we got on the road and I started seeing a lot more trees and a lot more green and stuff like that. But like seeing the mountains and the hills and stuff like that, it gave me El Paso vibe. But the weather, I love the weather. It's perfect. I think it probably only rained like one time since I've been here, but usually pretty cool in the morning. Warms up during practice. It was perfect weather. and then it's just pretty much perfect weather. Like I can't really complain about it. But I heard in San Francisco it's super cold.
It gets cold. It gets cold. Have you had a chance to go out and enjoy the city at all? Or I mean, I know you guys are, a lot of people don't realize that, man. They keep you busy, man. I mean, you guys are working. You're lifting. You're running. You're learning. You're watching film. You're trying to get better, and it's an all day deal. But have you had a night where you've been able to go out with some of the fellas on the town and at least enjoy the South Bay and San Jose and go out? Or I mean, because this is kind of a big city compared to Lubbock for sure, and definitely compared to El Paso. And this is have you ever been to? What do you think of living in a big city?
Man, I like it. Like whenever I was in Houston doing my pro day training, it was one of those things where I really couldn't get out and enjoy the city like how I really wanted to because I was so locked in on my pro day training. But just being in a bigger city and seeing the vibe and seeing how people hustle and just how everything is so fast paced, I really do like that. And we actually went out to San Francisco as a whole rookie unit, and we went to the San Francisco Giants game. And just being able to go out there and like see the city, see how everything was, like how the houses are, the landscaping and everything. I was just like, man, I really do like San Francisco. I like the way it looks. I like the vibe and everything. And yeah, it was pretty nice, but like I said, it was cold.
Yeah, definitely. So when the Mark Twain, the author, said the coldest winter he ever spent was a summer in San Francisco. Couple last things before we let you go. Let's get to know you a little bit. What give me, do you cook for yourself? Do you go out? I mean, and if everybody kind of has got to make something, or unless you got a girl who's making it for you or whatever. But I mean, do you do you have any like pregame like rituals or meals that I always eat this before games, or I always make that? What's your meal of choice?
Man, that's a good question. My meal of choice.
Because football players like to eat like 4 or 5 hours before the game, typically, right?
Yeah,
you're gonna eat.
Yeah,
you don't want to eat an hour before the game.
Yeah, it's crazy though because whenever I was in college, we had meals before the game, so I was always getting the same thing, and I was pasta. I was like getting pasta before the game.
There you
go. But like the night before, I was in college. I was a big air fryer guy, so like I was air frying everything. I would go on TikTok and find air fryer hacks and make some stuff on TikTok, but make some stuff in the air fryer from TikTok. But I mean, as far as like a game day meal, I probably won't get to find that out until this year because I was eating the same thing every time before a game last year, my last season in college.
So I was asking Ray McLeod, I'm like, what do you listen to before the game to get you in the right mindset? And he was telling me a couple songs. He's a big 50 Cent fan. Is there music? Do you like to listen to a little music on your headphones in the pregame? What gets you in the mood to play football? Are you what is your artist of choice, or you got a favorite song or two?
So I like Afro beats. Like if I'm before like when we're on the bus or something like that, I'll listen to something smooth. Like I'll probably listen to some R&B, some Afro beats a little bit, like some Burna Boy. And then like before the game, I'll turn it up a notch, and that's when I'll get into like the 50 Cents or like the Lil Baby or like the Lil Durk or something like that, and get my mind going like that.
A little edgier, closer to the game.
Yeah. Some old Lil Wayne, some Carter 3, something like that. But even the night before, I'm listening to some R&B or I'm on some like Afro beats, just chilling, just enjoying the vibe, relaxing. And then whenever
there you go. If when you make it big in the NFL, have you thought about what you'd like to buy mom? What would be something that you would, if you know what, the Niners come to you and they say, you know what, you made it, and you're gonna have a whole career in the NFL. You get that first big contract. What are you getting, mom? Or what are you getting yourself?
Well, so for me, I gotta help moms out. I'm gonna pay off all her student loans and everything like that. I'm gonna do that. And then I want to get her a car. Like she loves Mercedes. She loves BMWs. Like she loves stuff like that. So I gotta spoil moms. As for myself, Ooh, that's a good question. Because there's a lot of things that I like. I would say a car too, but dang, I don't know. I'll probably say like a car. I'll say a car for right now.
Okay,
I'll say
what car? What's your ride gonna be?
uh
This is your ideal ride.
mm-hmm. So I like track hogs.
Okay,
I like those track hogs. So I like something fast. But
there you go.
I don't want it to be a car because I've had a car my whole time in college. So I want to get something like that's an SUV, like a Durango or like a Hellcat or something like that.
What do you do when you're away from football? What is your interest? You watch movies? You like to travel, golf, pick up basketball? What are your interests outside of football?
I'm a music junkie. I love music. I love listening to music. I love being around music. A lot of my friends back in Lubbock, they make music. So like I will go to the studio and just vibe out with them listening to music. If I'm not playing music, I'm probably doing something else like playing basketball or something like that.
There
But
you go.
in my free time, just being around music, man, it just does something to me.
What is so far? What has been the coolest part about being an NFL player?
The coolest part about being an
Yeah,
NFL player.
thus far, you're now getting a taste of NFL life, right? You're going to practice and you're going to the facility and
Mhm.
what do you think so far where you said is like some guys look up at their locker and like, wow, I saw my name and there's my jersey. You're wearing 35, by the way. I'll
Yeah.
ask you about that next. But what's the coolest thing so far about being an NFL, being part of an NFL franchise?
Just being part of the San Francisco 49ers NFL franchise as a whole, is just walking into the facility, going to your locker, you see Debo, you see Trent Williams, you see Christian McCaffrey over there, you see Trey Lance, you see Brock Purdy, you see all these like big name people. That's one of those things that's mind blowing to me. I'm just sitting there like, dang, like I'm really in the NFL, and then being out there in practice with them, with the George Kittles, I'm just like, dang, like I'm really out here with them. That's one of those like those welcome to the NFL.
You got to
Good
pinch
moment.
yourself kind of a deal. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Debo, by the way, Debo told us, Ron, that he sucked last year. He came to the podium. He's like, I was awful last year. And then people were like, whoa, Debo, what do you mean? He's like, yeah. In what phase? He's like, in every phase. I was sluggish in my route running. I was this. I was that. I didn't do anything good. I just watched film with Shanahan, and I'm never putting film out that like that out again. And I'm taking it to a new level this year. And I was just blown away because obviously, as you know, he's one of the great receivers in the game. The
Mm-hmm.
fact that he feels that he was terrible last year can only be good for the Niners and Niner fans. But have you had a chance to talk to Debo at all?
We talked for a little bit, just some short conversations and everything like that. He's so locked in, and he's one of those guys where like I see him and I'm like, and this is a professional. Like I didn't even think I didn't even think he had a bad year like that. But that just shows how professional and how much like he knows he can get better. And it's like that's just how it is with everybody on the team. Like everybody's expectations and everybody's like ceiling that they know that they can get to is so high. So everybody's trying to tap into that. And you gotta respect and enjoy being in an organization like that.
Couple last ones before we let you go. Give me your thoughts on the quarterbacks. You mentioned Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold, Brandon Allen. What do you think of these guys? Give me your thoughts. I mean, obviously you got four real solid quarterbacks there, and they're going to battle it out this summer. Why don't we go one by one? Well, give me your thoughts on Trey Lance.
Man, I really like Trey Lance. He was one of the first guys when I had got to the facility and got to the locker room who greeted me, and it was one of those like, dang, like he already knows my name, like he knows who I am. So it was one of those like, I mean, I like his personality. I like him out there as a football player. He's a real leader, and it's somebody that I'm like, okay, like you know what I'm saying, just the way he moves, the way he's in the pocket and everything like that. Yeah, man. Trey Lance is like that. I feel like all of them are like that. I feel like all the quarterbacks are like that.
Well, have you and Brock hasn't been out there playing yet, but have you had a chance to have any conversation with Brock at all?
No, I haven't really got to talk to him, but I do see him a lot. Like, I'll give him a fist pump, say what's up to him. And even him, like, the thing with the quarterbacks is crazy that they know your names. Like, they know who you are. So it's one of those things, like, as an undrafted guy, I'm kind of like, man, like, I wasn't expecting you guys to know who I am. I wasn't expecting you guys to know my name. Like, you guys are the big guys, like, the
right.
Trey Lance. Like, I'm just like, dang. I'm just like, but all of them really just down-to-earth guys. And it's like you would think that, like, they would have some type of ego and stuff like that, but nah, like, they're all humble and just like good people.
Yeah. How about Darnold? Anything stand out to you about Darnold? I mean, he throws a great ball. That's for sure.
Yeah. He throws a great ball, great person. He's one of those people that whenever I was going through OTAs and stuff like that, I would stay out with him and just do some tracks. And he's like Christian. He's so business minded. Like, everything he does is every rep is an important rep. So, man, just being around these guys, and it's a blessing. That's all I can say.
Hey, last one. Let's say you either make the team. To me, you're either going to make this team or you're going to be on the practice squad on this team this year. And either way, it's going to be a great situation for you. Let's just say you make the team. You make the team. John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan call you in. They say, Ron, you've made the team. Who are you calling first, and what's that conversation going to be like?
First person I'm going to call is my mom, for sure. For sure, I'm calling my mom. Like,
what are you going to say to her?
I'm going to be like, Mom, guess what? She's going to be like, what? I'm going to be like, just guess. I'm gonna just keep going with it. She's going to be, stop playing with me. Stop playing. What is it? What is it? Are you good? Just knowing my mom. I'm telling Mom, I made the team. I just know she's going to go so crazy because it's just like she knows how much work I put in. And she always, hey, if you're going to put all your eggs on basketball, football, you better get it. Like, you better get to it. So then it's one of those, like, telling my mom, like, Mom, I got it. Stop stressing. Like, I got it. Trust me. To know that, like, all the hard work that I put in is paid off, I know she's going to, like, dang, I just know that she's going to go crazy. She might cry.
Hey, Ronald, man, good luck to you, man. I've enjoyed this hour talking to you. It's been a fast hour. It's gone by really fast. All I'll say is go get it, man. Go get it. It's there for you. It's there for you. You got all the talent in the world. You're in a great organization. Whether you go make the 53 or if it's a year on the practice squad, go get it. Bring everything you got and go get it. Because I know you got the ability to do it. I know your agent knows you got the ability to do it. Your family's going to be thrilled for you. The Niners and you're going to love Niner fans. And to me, it's so cool too that your first NFL preseason game will be the first NFL game you've ever been to. Yeah. So, I mean, I can only imagine. I'll come up to you in the locker room after that first preseason game, and we'll talk because I got to get your impressions of, playing at Levi's and 70,000 people, screaming and yelling, and it's a sea of red, and that is going to be one for the ages, man.
Yes, sir. You know what's crazy too? Whenever I was doing my pro day training in Houston, I had one of my friends who also played with me at UTEP. He was doing his pro day training there too, and he's from Richmond, and he's a diehard San Francisco 49ers fan. This is before I even knew I was coming out here, and he was just one of those, like, he loves everything about the San Francisco 49ers and stuff like that. So, like, whenever I got the call and I was on the team, he was going crazy. He was like, oh my God, like, bro, you made it to the league, but not only to the league, but you playing for my team. So it was like one of those, like, a guy that I was rooming with throughout my whole pro day process, man. Just, he always talking about the 49ers too. I ended up going there. It's kind of like a full circle moment. Like, it's crazy.
You're the man. Hey, we'll catch you. We'll catch you in camp. We wish you nothing but huge success, man. It's really been a pleasure getting to know you, and we'll say hi during camp and in the preseason. And as I said, man, you got the ability. You just go get it, and onward and upward. And thanks again for your time.
Yes, sir, man. I really appreciate you for having me on. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the opportunity. I'm blessed, man.
Go Niners.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Here for whatever you bring me, get it.